Here's Terry Spargo out to Meydan in Dubai. It's the 2013 Dubai World Cup.
They're racing in the Dubai World Cup, and Planteur was slow to move. Capone and Red Cadeaux not showing a great deal of pace after the start. Royal Delta is and went to the lead with Hunter's Light second. Side Glance third, Treasure Beach fourth, and An African Story. Animal Kingdom out wide. Dallahan closer to the fence, going forward on the inside of Meydan. Red Cadeaux's on the rail. A length and a half to Planteur. Capone is second last. And Cadeaux had immediately dropped out to the tail of the field as Royal Delta takes them to the back of the track past the 1,500 metres mark. First quarter, a leisurely 26.5. Royal Delta leading by 3 parts of a length. Animal Kingdom went up to be second. A length and a half away was Hunter's Light third on the inside of Side Glance. Another 2 lengths Meydan on the outside of Treasure Beach. A length to Dallahan, ahead to Red Cadeaux on the rail. A length to Planteur, a length to African Story. Capone second last and Cadeaux. A length and a half back is the best part of 13 lengths from the lead as they cast the 1,000 metres mark astern with 800 run in 50 flat. Royal Delta taking them to the back bend and the 800 metres mark with a break of a neat length over Animal Kingdom. A length and a half away, Hunter's Light on the fence on the inside of Side Glance. 2 lengths Meydan being ridden along, then Treasure Beach. Dallahan's out 3 deep, Planteur in the middle. Red Cadeaux on the rail, then Cadeaux, followed by African Story, and Capone had dropped out to be last with 4:50 to run. Coming around the turn, Royal Delta surrendered to Animal Kingdom, who darted a length and a half in front of Side Glance. Hunter's Light into the clear. Planteur on the outside in An African Story, the Derby winner. Animal Kingdom in front with 200 metres left to go. Red Cadeaux on the inside starting to flash home. Will he have time? Animal Kingdom leads. Animal Kingdom 3 lengths in front of Red Cadeaux, and Animal Kingdom wins the Dubai World Cup in a US-Australia combination. Animal Kingdom has beaten Red Cadeaux. Third tight between Planteur, Side Glance, African Story on the outside. Then Meydan, Treasure Beach, Hunter's Light, Cadeaux, Royal Delta, Dallahan, and Capone will walk across the line, last of all, in the Dubai World Cup of 2013.
Kentucky Derby winner Animal Kingdom is now a Dubai World Cup winner.
Yeah, and an impressive winner. And boy, did he show that explosive turn of foot. This was an easy win for Animal Kingdom. Hadn't won a race since February 18th of 2012. And Simon highlighting the trip, and Joel Rosario criticized for having him forwardly placed in the Gulfstream Park Turf Handicap on the 9th of February. Had him fairly close in this race, and when Royal Delta kind of stopped in this race, Animal Kingdom forges his way to the lead.
Yeah, I think he knew that was the horse to beat. From that outside post, Animal Kingdom was hung fairly wide into the first turn. He had about a 4 or 5 wide trip into that the first turn. But once he came out of the bend down the backside, he was latched onto Royal Delta. She gave way immediately. She turned for home. And this was an explosive turn of foot. Out of the clouds comes Red Cadeaux at a big price. That's the horse Stephen Keneally liked at a price.
55 to 1.
55 to 1. Absolutely rolling down the rail there. But look at that poetry in motion. Here's Red Cadeaux, the 2. But Animal Kingdom on to Royal Ascot now for trainer Graham Motion, Team Valor, and the Arrowfield stud. With that partnership of Arrowfield based in Australia, this win actually goes down in the record books as an Australian victory. But I think we'll
done with a victory in the richest race in the world. Congratulations to Team Valor, Graham Motion, and Joel Rosario. We'll have reaction from the victory when we come back right after this. Stay tuned.
Well, here is one of the members of the winning team, Barry Owen, who's responsible for the owners, who's speaking on behalf of the owners. Barry, first of all, the way this horse performed today, surely this is what he really is capable of.
I think so. You know, this horse has had, it's like some kind of a saga here. I mean, it's like up, down, and we always knew he had a race like this in him. He showed it in the Derby, and we wanted to see it one more time. Breeders' Cup was almost it. This was it.
Graham Motion alongside you as well. Graham, this victory in the Dubai World Cup has been a long time in the planning.
Well, when this horse got hurt a year ago, the first thing Barry said was, let's point for the World Cup 2013. At the time, I thought that was an extraordinary thing to say, and here we are.
Barry, what words of praise have you got for the man standing to your left?
Well, first of all, I told him he was crazy when he wanted to run the horse in the Breeders' Cup Mile, and so now it's like a dead heat on who's crazier. Yeah, I think he did an incredible job. This horse never looked this fit before. It was fabulous. The horse broke good, and credit to the jock. I mean, he, as bonehead a ride as he gave him last time, he gave him a brilliant ride this time.
I was going to say, last time, obviously, things didn't go well in the prep, and there was open criticism of what happened. But, Graham, the plan, did Joel carry out the plan to perfection today?
Exactly how we said. I mean, we sat and talked for about 10 minutes after they ran the UAE Derby, and I said, you know, he's got to break well, and he can't get too far out of it. And he just had him in the perfect spot. I mean, when you watch this race run, that's where you've got to be, and he was right there. And I couldn't believe it when he turned for home, and he was going so nicely. It reminded me of the Derby, actually.
Just tell me, the Dubai World Cup, Animal Kingdom has won the Kentucky Derby, and he's won the Dubai World Cup. What emotions are you feeling?
I didn't hear that last part.
What emotions?
I was not nervous before the race, which for me is unusual, and I was shocked afterward to see what he was capable of doing. It's one of these things where you hope to see it, but you never know if you're going to see it, and we did, and I'm just thrilled for everybody, but most of all for the horse.
And Graham, you're going to be able to put the Dubai World Cup on the mantelpiece alongside all the other great trophies that you've got. How does that rank?
Yeah, I don't know if it'll fit. Yeah, it'll be a good spot for it.
It'll have to get its own mantelpiece. Congratulations on a fantastic performance.
Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot.
Ask Barry Irwin a question, he'll give you a very honest answer, and he made reference to that ride by Joel Rosario down at Gulfstream Park, but in the end, that may have been perfect for that horse today because everything went right today.
Yeah, and credit for keeping the riders on.
Yeah.
Because so often in our sport, when a rider makes a move like that, whether you agree with it or not, the owners or the connections are inclined to pull the rider off. And I think you can learn by your mistakes if it was a mistake. And, you know, look, if a trainer makes one bad move, owners don't pull the horses right away. I think you need to give
credit to Rosario for being criticized for being too close and not saying, well, I got to be further back.
Right. He didn't overcompensate today.
He was still fairly close early on.
Yeah.
But it's one of the great training jobs you'll ever see.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I mean, this was his 5th start during a 22-month span.
Well, and look at the starts. I mean, look at the races he was trying to conquer over that time.
Faced the best miler in the U.S. in Wise Dan, probably the best middle distance turf horse in point of entry. So.
And the Wise Dan, that was his 2nd race in 18 months.
Yeah, exactly. And these are the presentations. They're going to some of the ownership groups. Sheikh Mohammed there, who's responsible for this whole evening, presenting the Dubai World Cup trophy.
It has been another spectacular edition of the Dubai Racing Carnival. We've watched it since the beginning and now to its conclusion. Graham Motion being honored along with Team Valor and now Arrowfield Stud. Animal Kingdom headed off to Australia. But let's take a look at the entire order of finish here. Royal Delta, one of the biggest names there, right next to Doulahan, far back.
Yeah, way back. A disappointing effort from them. So the record now goes for 2 for 37. 2 for 35 as far as winners on Dubai World Cup night since we moved to Meydan.
And I was saying, Animal Kingdom, the 2nd Derby winner to win the World Cup, Silver Charm, doing it in 97, winning the race in 98, and Animal Kingdom Derby winner in 2011, winning here in 2013.
Matt, you were on air for TVG throughout most of the night, so you watched a lot of these races along with our TVG viewing audience. How do you look back at some of the previous races before our Dubai World Cup final?
Obviously, St. Nicholas Abbey, who lost the Shima Classic by a neck last year to Cirrus Daigle, comes back with a big-time win. Lines of Battle, 100 points for the Kentucky Derby. Aidan O'Brien, trained horse, son of Warfront, is going to come to Kentucky and take part in the Derby first Saturday in May, so that will be interesting. Lightly racehorse, looked a little green, but still got the job done.
Okay, where does this leave us back here in America? Because sometimes we get clarity, the horse that wins the Dubai World Cup, if they're an American-based horse, then we know where everything stands in the handicap division over here. But now we have Royal Delta with this poor performance. Where does that leave her? We have Animal Kingdom, obviously, in a much different spot than
Well, with Royal Delta, it puts her back against her own gender, I think. And, you know, that's why they haven't gone against the males in the Breeders' Cup Classic the last couple of years. They've taken on males in Dubai. Bad excuse last year, no excuse this year with that poor performance. And Animal Kingdom still going to have one more start. It looks like it's going to be Royal Ascot, probably the Prince of Wales now, I would think, because that's a 1.25 miles.
Right, the Queen Anne is a mile race, so the race in which Franco won last year. I would imagine the Prince of Wales. Animal Kingdom's scheduled to fly to the UK. He's going to be based in the UK. He's not coming back to the US. He's going to be based in the UK and have his swan song there at Royal Ascot and the Prince of Wales. So I think the handicap division here is in turmoil. I mean, there's no pro tem leader at all.
Okay, we thank you for getting up early with us to watch one of the most spectacular racing events anywhere in the world, the Dubai World Cup. Racing action just getting started here in America. We'll have another crew come into the TVG studios in just a moment, but my thanks to producer Christian Lee and director Jerry Hollis for all their hard work in bringing us the coverage of the 2013 Dubai World Cup, taken by Animal Kingdom.
A leisurely 26.5. Royal Delta leading by 3 parts of a length. Animal Kingdom went up to be second. A length and a half away was Hunter's Light third on the inside of Side Glance. Another 2 lengths Meydan on the outside of Treasure Beach. A length to Dallahan, ahead to Red Cadeaux on the rail. A length to Planteur, a length to African, each fourth and an African story. Animal Kingdom out wide. Dallahan closer to the fence, going forward on the inside of Meydan. Red Cadeaux's on the rail. A length and a half to Planteur. Caponi is second last. And Casiano had immediately dropped out to the tail of the field as Royal Delta takes them to the back of the track past the 1,500 metres mark. First quarter.
Here's Terry Spargo out to Meydan in Dubai. It's the 2013 Dubai World Cup.
They're racing in the Dubai World Cup, and Planteur was slow to move. Caponi and Red Cadeaux not showing a great deal of pace after the start. Royal Delta is and went to the lead with Hunter's Light second. Side Glance third. Treasure Beach on the fence on the inside of Side Glance. 2 lengths Meydan being ridden along, then Treasure Beach. Dallahan's out 3 deep, Planteur in the middle. Red Cadeaux on the rail, then Casiano, followed by African Story, and Caponi had dropped out to be last with 4:50 to run. Coming around the turn, Royal Delta surrendered to Animal Kingdom, who does Story. Caponi second last, and Casiano a length and a half back is the best part of 13 lengths from the lead as they cast the 1,000 metres mark astern with 800 run in 50 flat. Royal Delta taking them to the back bend and the 800 metres mark with a break of a neat length over Animal Kingdom. A length and a half away, Hunter's Light.